Hello, Harriet. How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm fine. I've just sent a voice note to someone on LinkedIn for the first time.
How did it go?
I was very awkward. I stuttered a lot, and then I don't know why I sent it, but I did.
Did you send 2 of them, or?
I did send 2 and I deleted one.
Oh.
But then in the second one that I sent through to him, it did say, sorry about that earlier voice note. So
It didn't, because I heard you doing it.
it was fine. No, it's good. I got a reply. I think voice notes are the future. Business voice notes. Voice notes for business. If only someone thought of that.
I do like sending voice notes on LinkedIn though, but I always forget, and then I type the whole thing out, and then I remember I could send a voice note.
Yeah, I think voice notes are so much more personal.
My mum always sends me voice notes, but they're like 5 minutes long, so I have to do on times 2 because she speaks really slowly.
Yeah, there's a lot of,
And then she goes off on a tangent about one of her friends did something.
But maybe not, let's not alienate like a third of our listeners. Or your mum.
Thanks, Mum. Love you. Love you.
That's for Renee as well.
Oh, yeah. Renee, if you're listening. In Australia.
So today, what do we think we could talk about? I thought maybe we could go down the lines about, being a founder, because we're kind of like 6 months into this now. Well, we've been going for about 3 years, but we've gone full-time for 6 months. So sort of our observations as being full-time founders of a startup.
Yeah, let's do it. So I actually was reading an article earlier about the 5 habits of highly successful founders, okay? And I was a little bit triggered, I'm not going to lie. Okay, this is what it said. These are the top 5 habits. They read.
Okay, yeah. They do read. Everyone reads.
They schedule. They start their day early. They get enough sleep, and they make exercise a priority. Okay. I agree with some of those. They read. What do they read?
I mean,
so broad. I read my emails.
Sure. I think the problem with that is that it's just, you can just say something so generic. But like, what does they schedule mean? Everyone schedules.
Maybe they organize their time.
Isn't that like, what does scheduling? Well, what does scheduling mean though to you? Like, do you go out of your way and go, I'm going to schedule?
No.
I mean, if someone goes, let's have a call tomorrow at 3, I go, sure, I'll send you a calendar invite. Is that me scheduling?
I don't know. It wasn't very clear. They start their day early. I do agree with that. I only because I really actually like to start my day early. I really love being out and about when there's no one around. And I find it so like peaceful. Yeah. Especially in the summer when it's light and the sun is up and the birds are chirping. I find that really nice. And also getting enough sleep, super important. I need so much sleep. So that is definitely a priority for me.
You get an 8 hour a night
like
person.
At least 10. It doesn't happen like it never happens.
24 hour a night person to sleep.
That's the dream.
Just a hibernation.
No, but I agree with that. And also making exercise a priority. Yeah, of course, agree with that. But I don't think it's always a top priority.
I'm going to go out here and say something a bit controversial. I completely disagree with that whole list because it's just so basic that that's a given, right? I mean, except for stuff like make exercise a priority, sure. But like the other, what would you say? Read, schedule, start their day early, get enough sleep. It's basic human things to function as a human being. You don't need to be a founder to do that. You need to just be a functioning person of society and do those 4 things.
That's true. I don't think, though, these 5 things are founders always have time for.
No.
Especially exercise. I find it really hard because obviously when you have so much going on, getting enough sleep, plus exercising, plus walking the dog, plus doing work on top of everything, I think you have to prioritize yourself, right?
Yeah, but like wouldn't you count walking the dog as like exercise?
True.
I walk the dog, but I'll be on a scooter whilst to do it. And then the dog's like running sideways. It's pretty good. Like Marley and Me vibes.
Oh, love that movie.
Based on a true story, did you know? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's based on anyone that ever had a dog that sadly passed away.
Yeah.
But no, I really don't like these myths. And I hate like these sort of myths that are like, founders, be your own boss. You'll live your best life. And like, if you're a founder, you're the boss. You can do whatever you want. You're like accountable to no one. I really disagree with that. What do you think?
Well, you're accountable to everyone.
If anything, I think you're more accountable. I think if anything, you're at the bottom of the pile because you're accountable not only to yourself, but your business, your employees, your shareholders, your investors. And most importantly, you're accountable to like your end users and your like consumers, right? So if anything, you have like, if you're a successful business owner with many users or subscriptions or whatever, you're more accountable than anything else, really. So you're not your own boss. You're like millions removed from that.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you can decide to like take time off and do nothing, but is that, I don't really think that's productive.
Yeah. And people always think that if you're your own boss, you can literally do whatever you want. You can go out for lunch, you can go out for breakfast, you don't have to be in the office full time. But if you have employees and you have shareholders and you have to be accountable to them as well, right?
Yeah. But also another thing that I always think is a little bit strange, but anyone can do whatever they want regardless of where they are in an organization. Like, I don't know, when working early on in my like corporate career, if I wanted to go for like a really long lunch, I don't think I would do it because I would be like, oh no, my manager will get upset or whatnot. But then now looking back at it, being on the other side of that barrier, if someone took like a super long lunch and was just had like a really like bad attitude for like months, like what would you do about it? No, but don't you think, like, unpopular opinion, you can do whatever you want regardless of where you are in a company. If you're an employee and you just go, today I'm gonna have a really long lunch, or I want to go on a walk, I feel like the workplace has changed. You can do all of that anyway. So I don't think, the only thing about being your own boss is at the end of the day, you're more accountable to yourself and you have more responsibility, sure, but you can still do what you want.
Yeah, 100% agree. So in terms of like your real habits, like your actual habits, I always read these articles and they say, I wake up at 5 a.m. and I go on a run and then I cook some bread and then I make my breakfast.
Some bread.
Bake some bread, whatever. I don't know. And it's so fake. Right?
Yeah, oh yeah, it's fake news.
I'm sure there are people out there who do that, but not every single founder does that. I don't do that.
Yeah, I feel like there's a stigma around you have to say a certain thing if you're a founder. Like, I wake up at 4, I read 5 books, I go to work, I watch 10 videos whilst on the treadmill, trade my stocks, do some paperwork, close 10 big deals, and then I have breakfast at 6, you know? Like that sort of stigma of a lifestyle. Then you're like, I go to work, I'm a superstar person at work, and then I go home and then I do more exercise and I go out and I have 5 dinner meetings and then I go to the gym again and then I go to bed at 3 to wake up at 3:15, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, it's just not true. I mean, there are people I'm sure that function like that, but I think the thing is you have to just be what works for you. And I think you have to be open about what works for you. Like, don't.
Yeah.
Oh, another myth that I really don't like is that you should do every job in your company. A successful founder does every single role in the company.
Yeah. But I think initially when you start out, you do every role.
How much developing have you done of our app, Harry?
All of it, actually.
Yeah, did you
I
do
work
all
pretty
of it?
hard.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, obviously stuff like that where you don't have the technical skills,
Exactly.
sure. But I mean, every other role you basically do when you start out before you hire people.
Yeah, sure. But I feel like that whole, I'm a founder and we've got 30 employees, but I still do everything because I'm so important. It's not true. I mean, my life's been great since we hired a marketing manager.
Thanks, Danielle.
Yeah, shout out to Danielle because I don't market anymore. Yeah, no, but it's good. It's good to like delegate and like trust the people that you have in your company.
Yeah,
I don't really think there's like a founder hack, but yeah, you don't have to do everything, and it's okay for you not to do everything. I know a guy. Anyway, so I know someone who, you know, they started up their own tech company and stuff, and they don't do any developing themselves, but they're a development company. So you don't need to be able to do everything to be a successful founder.
Yeah, no, definitely. But also when you do delegate, then you free up a lot of your time to do things that
are important. Yeah,
definitely.
So what do you think are some founder myths from founders? It's like Mark Jacobs, you know, like Mark Jacobs and Mark Jacobs, but Mark Jacobs.
Myths about being a founder.
Yeah.
I always see people saying they work all the time, which is physically impossible. And that's a whole life-work balancing that we talked about in a previous podcast, isn't it? Because you physically can't. Like, it is exhausting being a founder and having so many people rely on you. And I also really found after COVID, being inside for 2 years' time and not speaking to people like in person, I found it really hard to go back to then being in the office full time and speaking. It's very draining, I think. So when I go home, I want to like sit and relax and actually chill. And otherwise, if you just work all the time, how are you going to do good work and actually be productive during the day when you're at work, right?
Yeah. One of my founder myths is just like this whole virtue signaling sort of, you know, today I got rejected by 30 investors and it was really bad, but I'll get over it because when I'm really big and successful, you know, oh, I'll be the one laughing type of stuff. And I go, yeah, but also like, it doesn't affect me. It's not actually like, I think a lot of founders and a lot of the stigma around founding an early stage company is like around the rejection aspect when people tell you, oh, it's a terrible idea or this, that, and the other. I always feel like, yeah, but no one ever gives you like a really hard rejection. They give you rejections with reasons. So it's not hard being rejected anymore. I don't even like look at it that way because it's like, oh, we might not invest. It's too early stage, but stay in touch because if once you generate this much revenue, we'll definitely open up. But did you find it hard initially being rejected when we first started out? Not really, because I think I worked in sales, so I was very used to it. It was just like second nature to me. It doesn't even faze me, to be honest. Or how about you? No, not really, because you can't take it personally. I mean, actually you can, because a lot of investors invest in people, right? They don't always invest in just the idea. They invest in the team and you as a person and a founder. So you can take it personally, but you shouldn't. Because really, like at the end of the day, they're also not really going to invest in an idea they think is sure. But I also think that, so I find it also very interesting because I know what you say there, like they invest in founders and not in whatever. But at the same time, like there have been a lot of times when investors say things leading up to a rejection, and I have already rejected them in my mind because I go, this person isn't like on board with what we're trying to build as a business, and they don't really get the future vision and like how and what we want to do. They're just looking at like making quick money side of stuff, and then by certain like suggestions of what we should be doing, and I kind of go, yeah, no, this isn't what we'd ever do. So no, thank you. Like we could just end this now. There's no need for it. And that's followed by rejection. But then again, it's like mutual, right? Because like, even if you said yes, I wouldn't. Yeah, exactly. It works both ways. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, no, there have been a few times which, it's been like, oh, that's, had high hopes and things fell through, but they've never really 100% fallen through though. So it's like, I don't really know. I think it's not a rejection. It's just a rejection for now is the way I look at it. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What about another myth of like, you shouldn't offend anyone? Oh God, you should offend everyone all the time. No, but you can't be liked by everyone, right? And I think a lot of founders, because they're going, oh, this is my brand, I can't say anything controversial. Or if someone says something a bit controversial, they don't call it out or anything. And I think I think you should just do what's in line with your brand, right? You shouldn't go out of your way to offend people, sure, but I don't know, if someone's like, if you post on Instagram and someone's just like commenting like really aggressive things, you can either delete it or you just like bite back. Whatever you want to do is up to you. You can do what you want. It's your brand and your thing, right? What do you think? Yeah, I mean, I think it's a weird myth. Don't you though? You shouldn't offend anyone. I don't know how you can go through life without offending anyone. I think there's always going to be people who don't agree with you and your vision and whatever, but I don't think it offends people, does it? No, I think maybe offend might be not the best word. Maybe upset people. Because like, yeah, there have been multiple times where I've wanted to like, not I've wanted to, but there have been difficult things that we've had to do for the business and it's upset people. But it's the best for the business. I don't mind doing it. It's not enjoyable doing it, but it's what's right for the business. I always look at that first. Yeah. But yeah, I guess, but then I think also being a founder, you can't be a people pleaser and you can't just go along with things because you don't want to upset people. Yeah. So moving on from those 4 myths of being a founder, what do you struggle personally with being a founder? My routine. Quite a few. I don't struggle with anything really, which is nice, but there are things I wish I would do more of. One thing I've gotten very used to is like not having a set routine every day, being such an early stage founder. Not in terms of like, I don't know what I'm doing every day, but in terms of what I do before and after work. Because some days I will get up at the last possible minute because I have to max my sleep and then come to work. Some days I stay late, some days I leave early, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, that routine, I suppose. Yeah. But it's also when I get home, there is no motivation for me to ever go exercise. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah. I really try. I know you know what I mean. Yeah. Well, we go home together. Yeah. Great. No, I know what you mean about routine though, but I really find that staying in a routine really helps me because I know that I get up at the same time and I do the same thing before I go to work or we go to work. And then the evening is different, obviously, because
it's weird to be in a routine in the evening. Like, I just want to go home and like chill and not have to like worry about anything. But obviously having a dog as well helps us stay in the same kind of routine and doing the same kind of things. Yeah. Morning, evening, weekend, walking, feeding.
Yeah.
That kind of
stuff. I think, but that's like basic, right? I don't count, like I eat at roughly the same time every day. I sleep at roughly the same time. But what I feel my other time doing is what I struggle with sometimes, maybe in terms of routine.
But during the day at work, we have the similar kind of routine every day, right? So we have stand up in the morning and then in between stand up and then our daily debrief at the end of the day is a free for all.
Yeah. Have you, I was going to ask something really profound, but then I forgot. No, in terms of like struggling as a founder, now I remember, earlier you mentioned that all successful founders schedule their life. Do you schedule what you do outside of work hours?
Oh yeah, all the time.
You do?
Yeah, all the time.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
What do you do?
I put everything in my calendar because otherwise I'll just forget. Like I will just 100% forget. I always put in my calendar if I'm seeing someone, if I'm going to get my nails done, if Waitrose is coming, if we have a supermarket shop coming. I have to put everything in my diary because otherwise it will just completely go off my head. Like this past week is the first week I've seen literally anyone in like 2 months. And I scheduled twice 2 people to see each other. And I just,
didn't send the calendar invite on time.
Yeah. So no, I 100% do. I always obviously schedule everything at work. Yeah. Put everything in the diary just because I find it helps me keep on track of my day.
That's very interesting because I feel like I'm kind of the opposite. I'm very organized with work stuff. So between the hours of 9 and 5:30, I'm like on it. I know what I'm doing every minute of the day or whatever. But as soon as work finishes, I don't know. I know roughly what I'll be doing. I'll be like, but what sort of potato am I going to be on this couch today? Am I going to be a new potato or a golden russet sort of thing? Routine. Yeah, is something we both struggle with. Well, no, I think you're more in a routine than me.
I'm okay. I really try and stay in the same routine. I'm not like a naturally organized person, so I really find that being in a routine and putting everything in my calendar like helps me actually really stay organized. Sometimes you have those like bursts of motivation where you're like, I'm going to be super organized. Yeah. But like I try and like keep my organization levels pretty good because otherwise I will just fall to pieces.
No, I know what you mean. Yeah. And I feel like a lot of founders are in this stigma of talking about like, this is what other founders are apparently talking about, so I should do it, right? The thing is, do what works for you. Yeah. And don't be ashamed of it. So yeah, I don't like going to the gym and I'm proud.
It's all right.
That's fine. What do you hate doing that you're supposed to like doing?
Reading.
Yeah.
No, that's a lie. I really enjoy reading books on holiday when I have time, but I just don't I find it reading really tiring. I mean, that's probably good before bed actually to like wind down. But I just at the end of the day want to go home and do something where I can switch my brain off and I don't have to pay attention because
you don't want to
when you're reading and then you realize for like 5 pages you haven't been paying attention, then you have to go back and read it all again. Yeah. So I find that I do enjoy reading. That's a lie, but
But you're talking about reading stuff for like fun, not like.
Oh yeah, I mean for fun. Oh no, I don't like reading business books. Like that is so boring.
See, that's where you and I differ.
So boring.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. No, I read so many business textbooks at university, and I have my bedroom is full of them in my mum's house. But I just know. Oh my gosh, I can't.
I know that's the other thing because I mean I don't read for fun. I only read for like gaining information.
But do you think that you're quite like a theory person in terms of like you like to read business theory and then implement it, or?
No, I think this is again one of those things where successful people should enjoy reading and doing this. I'd rather watch a movie or for example, I wouldn't read the Harry Potter books and I'd rather just watch the movies because I find it an easier way to digest the material. And then people go, well, the books are different to the movies. And I go, well, make the books into the movies then, Yeah,
I mean, people, are different.
Yeah, exactly. It works for me. I'm not like shitting, like,
I'm so jealous of people who are like, oh my gosh, I read like a book a week. I'm like, that's really cool. Like, I wish I could do that. Yeah. I'm just not a very fast reader anyway.
Yeah, so. I read The Hungry Caterpillar a couple of years ago. Very good. I read that in a day.
What's your favorite book?
I don't have one.
You don't have a favorite book?
Nope. I like textbooks. I like the ones that are like, the rules of wealth or the rules of management. Those, because they're quite easy to digest. Very boring.
See, please wake me up in 5 minutes.
Yeah. But this is the thing. You shouldn't be judged on not wanting to read the books that I'm reading.
Yeah.
But also, I don't read those books all the time. I probably listen to them instead because, again, I'm not...
like an audiobook.
Yeah, I'm not a real big reader.
No, I love audiobooks, 100%. Yeah. I always listen to audiobooks. Yeah.
And it's okay if you don't like reading.
Also, when you are so busy being a founder, there isn't really much time to be doing things that you really want to be doing anyway. So what I really like to do is I always put an audiobook on when I'm cooking, because obviously I don't have to cook. You don't have to eat. But yeah, I love listening to a podcast at the same time as well, because also that's that whole multitasking thing where it's like I can absorb all this information and do something else.
So could you imagine if you had like access to all these amazing founders and startup stories, and you could just leave it running in the background, and you can just
the Mountbase podcast.
Yeah, and you can just absorb all this amazing information. If only there was something like that. If only. Yeah. No. Yeah, I think for a fact that like one of the things I struggle with is admitting that I don't like doing things that are perceived to be successful.
Yeah.
And I think I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Moving on from that though, but another thing I wanted to ask you is, how do you stay positive and upbeat when you're tired and you're exhausted and you just don't want to?
I don't know. Okay. I feel like I'm quite a positive person. I don't know. I just feel like I am. I'm quite lucky in that way. I always think that it could always be worse. So yeah, I think and I also enjoy what I do. So I don't mind. And I get a bit grumpy when I'm tired and stuff, but there's nothing that, a good joke and a good little laugh won't solve.
Yeah.
How do you stay positive?
Just remember, like, there's a bigger picture. Sometimes when something happens and you're like, oh my gosh, it's ruined my day.
Yeah.
It's so easy to let things ruin your day, like a tiny thing.
Yeah.
And not letting something ruin my day. I struggle with sometimes, obviously, but I find that's really important, because otherwise.
But okay, so an example as a founder, how do you stay positive when, say, you're raising funding or you're just about to launch your next big product or something, but then like your investors pull out, and then you're like all this stress of like how you're gonna continue, what's gonna happen, all this like stress of being a founder. How do you stay positive through that?
What's meant to be is what's meant to be. I butchered that. Let me do that again.
The
What's meant to be is meant to be.
Yeah. I
believe that in every sense of the word, like the sentence, in everything I do. If it's meant to be, it's meant to be. If not, then it wasn't. If it wasn't meant to be the right investor, then there'll be another one. Something bigger and better is always
around the corner.
Yeah, exactly. So that's definitely how
You have this very annoying yet very catchy thing that you do, I feel, where when I'm moaning, or if I'm like, oh, my leg's hurting, I don't want to go on a walk, I'm putting on a limp, so I have to take the dog for a walk, type of thing, and you just tell him and go, it'll be fine, and then we just have to do it.
It will be.
It'll be fine.
Yeah, it'll be fine, whatever.
Yeah.
Fine. She'll be right, mate.
She'll be right, mate. Yeah. No, for sure. I think that's quite easy. It's quite easy if you are in line with what you're doing and everything to stay positive. I think the difficulty is if you're constantly in a negative frame of mind because of something.
But I think also the people you surround yourself with.
Yeah.
Huge difference, especially being a founder and having co-founders. So incredible to have someone to share your journey with. And then if someone, or for example, like if I'm feeling down, you're like, hey, like look at it this way. Because, everyone obviously has different perspectives on things that happen, situations, whatever.
Yeah.
Then the other person can always like lift you up, and you can talk it through, and also lean on your team as well. So
yeah, for sure. Like what Noah says, like there are people that like charge your battery.
Oh yeah.
There are people that drain your battery.
Yeah.
You want to be surrounded by people that charge your battery. Build your team and your life around people that charge you, not that drain you. How do you go about living your life, I suppose, whilst being a founder?
Yeah, that's a good question, actually. I think you really have to make an effort with people, with your friends and your family, which I've really been lacking on recently. And I really appreciate one of my friends reaching out to me and just says, hey, like, let's go and have lunch or brunch or dinner or whatever. Because I was never really a good person for keeping in touch, even before we founded Mountbase. So now, when it's so busy and I just don't have time to think about anything, my social life has really taken a toll.
Do you find that it's harder? It feels like, okay, you're putting your life on hold a little bit to put all your energy into a business?
Yeah, it could do. You could definitely feel like that if you let it, but I think you really have to make an effort. Like with anything, with just as much you're putting effort into your business, you have to put effort into your friends, right? Because otherwise you wouldn't have any. But yeah, no, I can imagine it would definitely feel like that if you let it.
Well, one thing I wanted to ask you about is these like founder myths, okay? Like, you have to be like Steve Jobs or Adam Newman. There's like a person that fits into like a mold of being a founder, right? And this mold is like sort of eccentric, bit nuts, but like ahead of their time. You've got to go to university, but also in your first year of university, you have to get on to like a postgraduate level course and be the smartest person on that course.
Right.
And then you drop out of university to go found your $1 billion company, right? Like that's obviously how everyone becomes a founder.
Yeah, obviously.
Like if you haven't done that, like I don't know what you're doing. And then you have to like run around, be a nightmare to most people around you, have no furniture for some reason, and never use your oven. Like these are like these sort of character traits are like how founders are portrayed in like the mainstream media. Like big media is like portraying founders like this.
Yeah.
What do you think? Like, what do you think that whole life, like wake up at 5, go to meetings in the night, and you like, you're always like running around and being a bit of a nightmare.
Yeah. I mean, you just spoke about 3 people, right?
Yeah.
Steve Jobs, Adam Newman, and the lady from the other TV show. Don't know what her name is.
Oh, the one from the TV show.
Dropout.
Yeah, Dropout.
What was her name?
No idea.
I don't know.
Didn't watch it closely.
Yeah. Those are 3 people out of billions of people who've started companies, right? How big is people started companies? I don't know. Yeah, you have to be a certain type of person. You have to be strong, resilient, not give up. Like those are character traits. But you don't have to be the kind of person who's chaotic and doesn't use their oven. Like that's a weird one, but okay. Or running around being rude to everyone around them.
Yeah, yeah.
That's just, first of all, the worst kind of person. Like no one wants to be around those kind of people. But I think in media, like you were saying, these people are portrayed to be really successful because they run around and they're chaotic and they're rude to everyone and those kind of things.
Yeah.
But like those are just like a few TV shows that have been made about people.
Yeah. So I watched this interview with Karen Brady, the one of the most successful businesswomen out there at the moment, and she was like, "Oh yeah, I'm moving to this new house and I've never used my oven because I'm so busy and all this stuff." And I just go like, I'm not busy enough to use I'm not that busy.
Weird.
I can use my oven. Like, am I not like, am I doing something wrong because I've got time to use my oven? If anything, using my oven is easy because you just put the food in, you turn the heat, or you put the heat on first, put the food in, and then you leave it and then you come back.
Is that how an oven works?
Of course.
Wow.
But then if you're cooking on the stove, it's like much more like hands-on, right? It's like much more time wasting going on if you're that successful. But you know what I mean? Like these things where like people go like, "Oh, I'm so successful, I don't do this."
Yeah.
And then you kind of question yourself going, because I'm doing these other things, am I not as successful?
Yeah. But I always think that people envision a founder or someone who runs a successful company to be an old 6-year-old man, right? Like all these huge companies are all run by all these huge, like, and I think business is changing in the way that people
obese
see.
felines, yeah.
Pardon?
Obese felines, fat cats.
What?
Fat cats. They're called fat cats.
I was like, what are obese felines? Okay.
Fat cats.
But we're working with a founder who's 22 and we're filming with her next month. And she has a really incredible story into how she went through university and then she actually dropped out and she had a physics degree because she finished her credits in time or whatever. And she's 22 and she's got funding for her company. And she's so mature in the way that she speaks and converses with us that like she doesn't need to fit into a mold of, oh, you have to be old and whatever and chaotic to like run a business or be successful or fit into this mold that people think that a founder is, right? You just have to be a person who has a really great idea and a really great personality to like draw people in. I think actually that's a really interesting thing when you're watching these TV shows is their personality. They're so chaotic, sure. But they're also like, they've got that infectious, oh, I want to know more,
Yeah.
Especially Adam Newman in that WeWork show.
Yeah.
He just doesn't stop. And I think that's something that you can take from that show or you can take from him and what he does. But you need to be able to draw people in and kind of want them to know more and want them to be involved and follow your vision. I think that's a huge thing as a founder as well, as getting people to get on board with your vision.
Yeah. And
even if they don't think that they want to be on board, like you persuading them to be on board,
Yeah, for sure. No, I completely agree with that. Now, so I think from now on, my go-to question to anyone who is successful that I meet is going to be, do you use your oven? And if so, how often?
You don't use our oven.
I use our oven all the time.
You don't use the oven.
Is it enough?
You don't use the kitchen.
Okay, fine. Maybe that's why I'm a successful fan, because I don't go in our kitchen.
Maybe.
Yeah. Take from that what you will. No, so what do you do in, what are your 3 tips, I guess, for all your 3 things, now that we've been on this journey for, albeit only 6 months, but what are your 3 takeaways or 3 tips for founders, any future
in
founders
general.
out there? Yeah.
I think my first tip would be doing it with people that you really get on with. And if you're lucky enough to have a co-founder, really trust them and speak about everything and share all your thoughts and your feelings, because even if something is a concern to you, it's not a concern to them. I think, having the right people around you, definitely, whether that be a team, a co-founder, your family, your partner, just people who are around you and who can support you when you feel really low and you feel really down. I think that's super important. My second tip would be just enjoy the whole journey, because I think people get so caught up in the fact that they're always looking to the future and looking, hey, in 6 months' time, I'm going to be doing this, or in a year's time, I'm going to be doing this, or in 5 years' time, I'm going to exit and I'm going to be a billionaire, really exciting, but also enjoy the journey now, because when you look back at it, you're going to really wish. We always speak to so many founders and they say, I wish I'd had a documentary team following me around, which we're going to do, by the way. And look back on the process, and it would be such a shame to have missed out on such a great experience in your life, because it is, right? It's a really great experience. And my last tip would be take time for yourself.
Yeah.
Because you're always so busy giving to other people that you don't have time for yourself. So I think especially during COVID, self-care became such a huge thing, didn't it? So I think taking time to do whatever you really want to do, if that's watching TV, whatever, you don't have to feel guilty for watching TV, or if you want to go on a run, or you want to literally do whatever, just take even 5 minutes of your day to just do something that you really want to do and no one else can tell you what to do. What about you?
Oh, I think very much agree with your 3 for sure. For me, I think one of the most important things is be yourself, be authentic to yourself outside and inside of work. So if you don't enjoy going on runs or going to the gym, live a healthy lifestyle, sure, but do what you enjoy and don't feel guilty for not fitting into a mold of what success looks like. But at the same time, if you love working out and going to the gym, make sure you take time to carry on doing those things. Number 2 would be just really bin off negative people's feedback that's not positive. That's not positive. Bin off negative feedback that's just not constructive. They're people that they're just listening to reply, and they just want to have a sort of, your company's not going to work because of these reasons, and this is how I do it. Well, if you were going to do it better, just go do it. I don't care, right? And don't let that impact the rest of your day. Just leave those emotions at the door. Try and really train yourself to just not pay attention to the negative noise out there, because there's so much of it and you just don't need that in your life. And number 3 is get not get a co-founder, but have people that you can share your struggles with, because even if it's a 5-minute conversation to just vent a little bit, as long as you have someone to talk to and air those out, it's such a help, because sometimes just sounding out a problem, you find a solution. Or we're very fortunate that I have you as a co-founder and I have such a great team. I would say the final thing is just having someone to vent to or be able to talk to and share your thoughts and feelings with, because a problem shared
is a problem halved.
Yeah. Unless you're sharing it with more than 2 people or an odd number of people, then you can do the fraction.
A problem shared is a problem thirded.
If there's 3 people.
Or quartered.
No, okay. So if you have the problem and you're sharing it with 3 other people, is that problem quartered or is it a problem thirded?
Quartered.
Thirded. Yeah,
because if it's a problem shared, then it's problem halved. So it's one other person. So it's 2 of you.
Yeah.
But if it's 4, it's quartered.
Yeah. And I would say my final tip is use your oven. You're not too busy. Genuinely, you're not. Don't worry about it. It's fine. Just go. Don't feel guilty that you can use your oven or you're watching TV.
But what if you can't use your oven because your shoes are in there, because you have to store them in there because there's no room?
Yeah.
People in New York do that. There's no room.
I think that's so silly though, because going back to this whole New York oven shoe thing, you can only fit 1 pair of shoes in your oven. Just put it somewhere else.
No. You could fit at least 4 pairs.
You can't fit 4 pairs of shoes in your oven unless you take all the grills out.
The grills? No, if you have one rack in the middle, one on the bottom, 2 on each. When I did my internship in New York, I had a little stovetop, like 3 or 4 little hob things.
3 burner, yeah.
Yeah, but it was like an electric one and a sink. But I used to keep my makeup in my sink and all my shoes and stuff on top of the stove because there was nowhere to put anything. And I would do my makeup like in the sink.
I feel like that's such a flex for people that live in New York. Like, I used to live in New York and a gerbil would be too big to fit in my apartment because it was just so small. Like nowhere else does that. Like, oh, cool. Congratulations. Like, oh, I used to live in London and, you know, I don't know. There's no like comparison here. But whereas people in New York are like, oh, I live in New York and my bathroom's in my living room and my living room's in my bedroom and my apartment is 1 by 1 meter. You know, I sleep vertically.
Have you seen the Friends episode when Ross goes to look for a new apartment and the bath is in the kitchen? But okay, do you think the washing machine and the dryer should be, where do you think they should be in the house?
In the garage.
What if you don't have a garage?
In the bathroom.
In the bathroom?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Why is that interesting?
That's quite European, I think, isn't it? I think in Germany they have their...
Yeah.
Because in England we have them in the kitchen.
There are things that are in the kit. Well, to be fair, I feel like everyone would have their washing machine and their dryer in their utility cupboard if it was large enough, but it's not.
Actually, growing up, we had our washing machine in the bathroom, so that just defeats the whole...
Surely it should be in the bathroom where your things go to get cleaned, right? But yeah, anyway, so long story short, my last piece of advice to people is use your oven. Thank you for listening to this week's Mountbase podcast with...
me, Harriet.
And me, Jeet. We'll be back next week with some more oven-related incidences, yeah. Anything oven-related that's happened in Central London has nothing to do with us, disclaimer. Really good. So yeah, we've got some interesting things coming up, if you'd like to tell our audience.
We do. For the month of July, we are filming with about 15 companies, I think. We've got some really great insights coming up, some really great companies we're working with. And then we'll be launching our web streaming site.
In August.
Yeah, so we're launching our streaming site in August, which is super exciting. We've got less than a month now.
Yeah.
And we're working with some really great companies, some really great founders who have incredible stories. We have a huge range of companies as well. We've got mental health wellbeing app. We've got ginger beer. We've got Oddballs, which is a really great foundation. Who else? We have some incredible people.
Yeah,
we've got some skincare.
We've got everything. If you like food, drinks, dating, anything, we got something for you.
Well, it was really great to catch up about everything founder related. Yeah. I'm sure we'll do some more as things progress in Mountbase and kind of update everyone on our journey. Anyway, I'm sure we'll do another podcast.
I'm sure we will do another
about
podcast.
Our founder's journey and everything related. But for now, have a great week. Enjoy and subscribe and review us and leave any comments for what you want to hear in the future.
Yeah. And in the reviews, positive only, please. Thank you and goodbye.